Yo guys, what's up? My name is DJ Prime, the ITK, here again with another video. Now today we are talking about Wiley's latest album, the Godfather album. Now Wiley, for those of you who are not familiar, is a rapper, producer, musician from East London in the UK. He's someone who's seen as, probably one of the most influential people when it comes to grime. As the name of this album implies, he's someone who has also received the title of the Godfather of Grime or the King of Grime. This is a title that Wiley had sort of pushed away and resisted for a long time, but on this album he's sort of, embracing that title and saying, giving us a bit of history and delving into some things, in terms of the early beginnings and people and sounds that he has influenced. You're seeing Wiley on this album give shout outs to pretty much everybody that's relevant in grime right now. Of course, his, you could say, crewmates or label mates at BBK, people like JME and Skepta who are featured on this album. Also Frisco. You also have him talking and giving props to people like Chip, saying, he can't run out of bars, something that Chip says a lot. And people like Stormzy and Skepta. I think I said Skepta already. But yeah, people like Stormzy and just being proud of the grime scene as it currently is. I think on this album, if you're going into it, it's an album of, it's like, a father sort of talking to his kids, reminding his kids, I'm still the boss, but also at the same time, giving heads up, giving moral lessons and, still, coming with that ego that comes with rap. The production on here is very grime, something I like. Though I will say, listening to this album, at times not at times, as you listen to it progressively, it can become a bit stale. It can become a little bit boring because of the production. As I said, it's very grime. So there is a certain formula when it comes to grime beats, as well with Wiley's flow. But he does switch it up on a number of songs. You have songs that are for clubs or for more party grooves, and you have songs that are very reflective. The album opens with the track Birds and Bars. This feels like this feels like a joint track, two tracks in one. I love the bridge, I love the production. Basically Wiley is just reflecting on what he's gone through in the rap scene. A few tracks I liked on here: Name Brand featuring JME. This track was also produced by JME. I like the song, I like the vibe, I like the flow. For the production on here, you're gonna see a few names, you'd be used to or familiar with if you're into grime. People like Predator, people like Swifter. You have Wiley producing a few tracks on here, as well as JME. Like I said, Wiley has a few banger tracks on here, like the track Back with the Banger. Very energetic flow from Wiley, banging bass, something you'd expect from a banger, something that you'd expect to go off in the clubs. And then you have the song Can't Go Wrong. I love the progression of this track. Basically, Wiley is saying, if it's real, if it's honest, if it's genuine, then you can't go wrong with it. Another song on here, You Were Always Part 2 featuring Skepta. This is a bit of an R&B or rhythm and grime track. This has a lovely sample. I think the sample is Fine Time. And, it just has a lovely classical R&B vibe to it. Another song on here, Like or Not. Love the production, love the flow. Like I said, Wiley has an insane flow that I enjoy quite a bit. Track 16, I think, is a track that stood out to me in terms of relatability and sort of the message that was being sent on here. And that track is Laptop. Basically on here, Wiley is just talking about how if you have a laptop and you're able to use it well, you could make a lot of money and, you could buy a lot of houses with it. He talks about how, he started off using cracked software, how he was using his MacBook Pro to make beats and then making music and then eventually making money with it. Although at the beginning it wasn't to make money, he just had a passion for it. And as someone who uses his laptop quite often for, making videos and things like that, something I can relate with. And it's something that, I enjoyed, a track that I enjoyed, a track that I could, vibe with and enjoy. So overall, I will say the themes you could look for on this album would be themes of friendship and brotherhood, themes of, being a boss, being a pioneer sort of in your field. Wiley touches on it, but he doesn't touch on it in a way that makes you feel like, oh, I'm this big guy. He has this humility, and humility is something that he touches on, I think, track 2, where he says you should practice being humble before you peak. And like I said, there are great morals on here, there are great bangers on here. It's a bit varied. It's not too long. It did have moments where it felt a little bit too repetitive. Even Wiley himself says, you know, there are bars that he can never top and there are beats that he can never top and things like that. But overall, this is a good album. It's a good album that pays homage to himself without being too egotistical. And I love the brotherhood feeling on this. I love, you know, bringing everybody together. There were a lot of features on here, like I said, Skepta, Frisco, Jamie, Devlin, who, a little bit of trivia, was, I think, one of the first few people I listened to when I started listening to Grime. So overall, I'd say this album is decent. I give it a 7.5 over 10. Did feel a little bit boring. I'd highly recommend it if you're a fan of Grime. If you want to get into Grime, Wiley is definitely the place for you to start. That's all I have for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to check me out on social media. Be sure to check out some of my other reviews, especially on, you know, Grime and UK music. My name is Judge Prime. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not click subscribe? I hope you have a blessed day and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.